warning! Oh no! Oh no! FBI? Who is this FBI? What are they trying to warn us about?
A loony left-wing terrorist tried to blow up a Washington state detention center that houses immigrants waiting to be deported. Because nothing says set them free like attempting to set them all free of the physical soul containers they call bodies by blowing them to kingdom fucking come. But never mind the left-wing terrorism. Democrats are eating themselves. Trump says something half-cocked on Twitter again, and the four horse-faced women of the apocalypse hold a press conference. Giddy up! AOC has proven beyond a shadow of a doubt what I think people have suspected for a very long time. And that's that you don't have to have brains to be a politician. Her complete lack of basic grade school knowledge concerning her own job.
What we really need is that should we, and if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020,
is trumped, no pun intended, only by her complete lack of knowledge concerning basic household appliances and basic knowledge concerning the definition of words like illegal.
So the recommendation, of the many that you recommended family separation.
I recommended zero tolerance.
Which includes family separation.
The same as is with every U.S. citizen parent gets arrested when they're with a child.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from
Holman,
his family.
with all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're into the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Ilhan Omar has proven that she still gets wet over words like Al-Qaeda and Hezbollah!
And so it was the thing that was interesting in the class was every time the professor said Al-Qaeda, he sort of like his shoulders went up and,
Yeah, he's in command here.
Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah.
He's an expert.
And that you can take the girl out of Somalia, but you can't take Somalia out of the Goyle. On the 4th of July, tweeting this about America.
Today gives us all a chance to reflect on how far we have come as a country and how much further we have to go to achieve full equality for all people. We are at the tipping point for progress right now. Happy 4th of July.
While tweeting this just a few days earlier on Somalia's Independence Day. Independence from what? I don't know. Food? Irrigation? Stable government? Showers? Whatever, here it is. Somalai Tuso Isku Tersadi Oblada, life goes on. I don't know what I'm saying here. This Hadba Kina Tag Darini line could be some Necronomicon shit for all I know. Hadba Kina!
Klaatu! Barata! Necktie, nectar, nickel. Noodle. It's an N-word. It's definitely an N-word. It's definitely an N-word.
It's nigger! Tagara Wella Gini Wella I don't fucking know. Luckily, I found a translation of this tweet. Somalis, wake up! Wake up and support each other. Support your country. Support them forever. Happy Independence Day, Somalia. Long live Somalia! Yep, a true American, folks. And I say I'm lucky to have found a translation because my Google app translated it to this. Somalia is straightforward. Wake up the dog! And that's the worst support forever. Yep, true that. And that's where the expression let a sleeping dog lie comes from. I bet you didn't know that. I bet you didn't. Rashida Tlaib has proven that she's a Palestinian Muslim first and an American second. If that! And there's nothing more zen than the death of millions of Jews.
2 weeks ago or so, we celebrated or just it took a moment, I think, in our country to remember the Holocaust. And there's a kind of a calming feeling I always tell folks when I think of the Holocaust and the tragedy of the Holocaust and the fact that it was my ancestors, Palestinians, who lost their land and some lost their lives, their livelihood, the human dignity, their existence in many ways have been wiped out, and some people's passport. I mean, just all of it was in the name of trying to create a safe haven for Jews post the Holocaust.
In the wake of her revisionist history lesson, instead of maybe saying something like, "Oh, you misunderstood me," or "that came out wrong," the roulette wheel in her brain lands on, "Just call millions of Americans dumb racists."
No matter our backgrounds, no matter our ethnicity, no matter even our political opinions, we all deserve that kind of equality and justice. And, for me, I wanted to uplift that and bring that to light. And it was unfortunate. I got a text message from a friend who's like, hey, next time, really clarify, maybe talk like a fourth grader, because maybe the racist idiots would understand you better.
And finally, Ayanna Pressley proves how truly divisive and racist identity politics are, saying that she's all for black, brown, Muslim, and queer people, as long as you're black, brown, Muslim, and queer the way they want you to be. They have no room at the table for any Uncle Tom Jew-loving conservative queer who don't parade their asses around in public once a year dressed in their BDSM best with a strap-on!
Because we don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice.
Now, imagine if a white man or a white woman said that. It'd be birthday party, cheesecake, jelly bean, boom, and it's the end of the world as we know it. But it's the little things like this. Just little things. Like Ilhan Omar fundraising for the Council on American Islamic Relations, or CARE, a pro-Palestinian organization with ties to Islamic terror groups that the U.S. Department of Justice has listed as a co-conspirator in fundraising millions of dollars to Hamas and are recognized as a terrorist organization, right up there with Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State. Yeah, little things like that give people this peculiar idea that she and the Dingbat 3 are anti-Semitic, anti-American, pro-Palestinian Islamic apologists. I just don't know where people get this shit from! So all of this culminates in AOC and Nancy Pelosi getting into a catfight that we can't call a catfight because somehow that's offensive. Ultimately leading to AOC calling Pelosi a racist because of course she would! It's like knowing how to only move one piece on a chessboard. Pawn threatens speaker! There's no logic, reason, debate, or counterpoints to be made with her. Just go right for racism! Trump sees this as a perfect opportunity to say something crazy awesome on Twitter, because of course he would. But, what's the old saying? Never interfere with an enemy when he's in the process of destroying himself? Or while he's in the process of making a mistake. I think Napoleon said it, but don't get me started on that. So, yeah, the Democrats don't need any help losing voters right now. A recent Axios poll shows that 78% of swing voters know who AOC is, and only 22% think of her favorably, while 53% of swing voters know who Ilhan Omar is, with only 9% thinking favorably of her. 9% is Pete Buttigieg numbers. Bill fucking de Blasio is viewed more favorably than her by 50%, and that guy's a fucking tool. And overall socialism is viewed favorably by only 18%, while 69% say no to pinko commies. That being said, all Trump has to do now is sit back and warm his toes on the flames. But he wants to feed the flames to make an amazing fire. The best fire. The biggest fire like no one has ever seen, because nobody makes a fire like him, by tweeting this out. Now, you know what? Let's hear him say it.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. That's what I said in a tweet, which I guess some people think is controversial. A lot of people love it, by the way. A lot of people love it. But if you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay, too. But if you're not happy, you can leave. Well, they're very unhappy. I'm watching them. All they do is complain. I look at Omar. I don't know. I never met her. I hear the way she talks about Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda has killed many Americans. When she talked about the World Trade Center being knocked down, some people, you remember the famous some people. These are people that, in my opinion, hate our country. Quiet, 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 quiet. I don't know who's going to miss him, but I guess some people will. And in one case, you have somebody that comes from Somalia, which is a failed government, a failed state, who left Somalia, who ultimately came here, and now is a congresswoman who's never happy, says horrible things about Israel, hates Jews, hates Jews. It's very simple. I'm saying that they're socialists, definitely. As to whether or not they're communists, I would think they might be.
Oh, man. Classic. Oh, fuck. About the only thing he didn't touch on that he mentioned in his tweet was, you can't leave fast enough. I'm sure Nancy Pelosi would be very happy to quickly work out free travel arrangements. Oh, God. This was all construed by the regressive lefties as being racist, because of course it would, leading to the Mount Rushmore of dumb holding a press conference, saying that this is just the latest episode of a pattern of bigoted and divisive rhetoric. The ladies doth protest too much, methinks. Continuing to say that the president's remarks were part of an effort to pit Americans against each other. Can you say projection? Ilhan Omar then said he would love nothing more than to divide our country based on race, religion, gender orientation, or immigration status, because this is the only way he knows he can prevent the solidarity of us working together. Then the hypocrites went on to call the president a hypocrite, because of course they would! What you just said, Omar, is precisely to the letter, exactly a list of things that the regressive left stands for. Identity politics.
Are you playing identity politics? When it comes to women of color, brown faces, black faces, Muslim queers.
I mean, I know at least two of you won by default. Rashida Tlaib, that my autocorrect keeps wanting to change her last name to Taliban, was uncontested, and AOC, well, the last time Joseph Crowley even had a primary challenger was in 2004. He didn't even campaign, and you still only won by 14,000 votes. Ilhan Omar won by a landslide, but when you're currently sitting at Buttigieg and de Blasio approval ratings, ladies, there is nowhere to go. Speaking of go, the media just showed up, so that means the sprinkler system should be turning on any minute now. So I'm gonna scurry up a tree. Please remember to comment, like, share,
discuss,
subscribe, go for the ring, grab the bull by the horns, grab it by the pussy, and thank you so much for watching.
When I was in college, I took a terrorism class.
My mother insisted.
Quiet, 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 quiet.
Nub it! Yeah.